Somewhere in the deep snow-covered mountains, there is this building. Some residents joke that it stands out oddly like a dormitory from the 1990s, but this is where nearly all the residents of Whittier live.
I like it here. It's an interesting experience.
The community is awesome. It's beautiful.
And that's it.
This 14-story building also houses the city's public services.
So nearly all the fundamental public services are in this building. For example, at the end of this tunnel is the school that children who live in this building don't even have to leave their house to go to school. They can just take the elevator and go through this tunnel, and they will be in their classrooms.
The town hall, the gym, the church are all just on different floors. Rush hour in Whittier means the elevator making multiple stops.
I work as a bartender in the bar. I also work as a clerk in the store, both owned by Joe Shin.
Is that how people address places here?
What?
The bar, the store. They don't need names, they just say and they
Well,
don't.
kind of, because in the winter, it's the only game in town.
With so little to do outside, residents become awfully familiar with each other's lives.
You can't really have too many secrets here. After I first moved here, I had my dog out and it was a snowstorm, so I had my goggles on and my face mask and my hat and a scarf, and I went by and then I checked our Facebook page when I got back home, and there was all this ruckus about someone, a masked someone with a hijab, there's someone here, and I was just like, oh gosh, guys.
My daughter mentioned that it would be kind of weird because after growing up, it would be like dating your brother or your cousin or something. So the dating opportunities really aren't very good here.
Getting in and out of Whittier is not as simple. There is only one tunnel that operates on a precise schedule, alternating directions every half hour, and it closes completely overnight. The look of the tunnel reminds some people of Whittier's military past. Whittier served as a military supply base both in World War II and during the Cold War, during which the building where most residents live today was constructed. The first generation of Whittier residents were said to be the military staff stationed there after the war, in case the city needed to rise into action again. But today, there is a new war looming. About 45 kilometers northeast of the city, glaciers in the Barry Arm Fjord have drastically receded. Without the glacial support, valley walls are at increased risk of rockfalls and landslides, which in turn could trigger devastating tsunamis.
We worry about what we don't know about yet, right? There may be some things that haven't been discovered yet, and as the glaciers recede even more, there could be more issues like the Barry Arm issue.
The tsunami alert is now the only threat facing the city. In this entire area, nearly all of the glaciers have been reported to have receded over the past decade. And what's worrisome about this is that in this area, the glaciers and mountains are layered together, which means that once the glaciers all melted away, it will cause unimaginable damage to this region's geographic stability. And what's even more worrisome is that what's threatening the Whittier's future is not just climate change, but also the ghost from the city's own past.
There is a simple but sad reason why the entire town has had to squeeze into one building.
Because the railroad owns all the property, which is the reason that everyone lives in this building, is there's no land to build a home on.
The Alaskan Railroad Company got the land when the military left and has been benefiting from land leases ever since. Even today, the city officials would like to own some land because tax revenue would help pay for some basic city maintenance. But negotiating terms with the state-owned railroad company has been difficult. Whittier's mayor tells us that the best effort so far, which lasted 28 years, only resulted in the transfer of about 23 hectares of land.
Any kind of land sale has to go through the legislature in Juneau. Politicians who would like to, who have their own agenda, would only approve a sale like that as long as something was furthered in their agenda.
Do you think that they are sort of limiting the future of the town?
Absolutely, yeah. You just hope that that nothing happens, while we live here, at least in our lifetime and the time that we're here.
And that's the only thing we can do.
That's the only thing that we can do.
People come to Whittier for different reasons, but some form of escape from the world outside seems to be a common theme.
I wanted to be in the mountains, so in 1985, I took my family to Colorado. But then life came along, I got a divorce, and so finally, I made it up here.
My husband and I were both raised in Alaska, and we left and we came back. Whittier, we always joke, is like Alaska in the 90s. You know, it feels like 20, 30 years ago still.
We have fist fights here. We have all kinds of stuff goes down here. But if you fight someone, you're going to see them tomorrow. One of the things I really like about it on a personal level, it's a place that demands forgiveness. I just like places that give you a lot of chances.
Whittier has only a little bit more than 200 residents, which is hardly an advantage to bargain with the railroad company or the state government. But without owning the land, the city is extremely defenseless against the ultimate climate crisis. Whittier residents may finally realize that what's threatening their way of life is still the world outside that they tried so hard to leave behind. Gabriel in CGTN America, Whittier, Alaska.